Hey guys, Mike here with CSI Gaming. And as before, I posted earlier about this product here, the Sneak Attack deck. It's a Commander format, which is the 100 card format. You will notice that on my other videos in Arena, however, does only 60 card format, like standard historic. This one focuses on the 100 card multiplayer format, which you can play with 3 to 4 players. At my local gaming store here, this is a popular format. This is what everybody usually plays. So I decided to go over this deck. I have some upgrade cards from a decent guide I looked up from a guy named Triple Mango Threat on YouTube. He's pretty good. The way he upgrades the deck, and I'll go over it and show you how to upgrade this deck so it's a little bit stronger for you. But first I want to go over the Commander decks you see here first. These are excellent products that are designed for the new player. You can just get this box and just rip it open and play with a friend. No questions asked. No worries, nothing. You can play it. If you like it, you like it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to tear into this box and we're going to get this deck out. Nobody wants to see the packaging anyways. This deck is Sneak Attack, and it is a rogue tribal. What that means is it's going to be more creature based than mostly spells. As you see, you have your deck there. And it also comes with your box, instructions on how to play, which is good for a newbie, and a life total. And what this does is it takes you to 40. So your life will start at 40. And it comes with a cheap box, nothing fancy. It'll put your cards in there. However, I recommend going to places like CSI Gaming and ordering online or have them ship you a fancy card box like this. This will house all your great cards and keep them safe. Why these are great, this is better protection for your money. Also recommend Dragon Shield. Sorry for the glare. Dragon Shield card sleeves. Also, you can get those at most of your local gaming stores. CSI Gaming has them. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this deck. This is the 100, or I should say 99 cards that make up this deck. And this is what we call our commander, who plays in the command zone. He is foil, so he will mess with the camera light. We won't upgrade the commander because he is the staple character of this deck. However, there are some cards in this deck that just does not gel good with it. Now, out of the box, you can play this deck no problem, but it's not going to be strong against well-suited decks. People who have played Magic and know how to play it, builds their deck strong. You're not going to be able to compete against those because these decks, while great, aren't strong enough. So I can go over these cards. There's only 3 cards in this set that is new. All these cards are mostly reprints or added on. So what I'm going to do for this deck is I want to show you the upgrades to Sneak Attack. And then the first one we're going to do is we're going to use, I have these already put aside. I recommend using Sphinx's Tutelage. I'll lay that there. Hopefully you can read it on screen. If not, it says whenever you draw a card, target opponent puts 2 cards of his or her library into his graveyard. If they both non-land cards that share a color repeat this process. So what's this going to do is this is going to make our opponents mill twice as much if the cards are the same color. Like I said, I've got this guide from Triple Mango Threat on YouTube. So sorry if you hear my dogs barking in the background. This is one of the cards we're going to upgrade into this deck to make it a little stronger because we need more mill power. This deck works on mill. I don't know if I've showed you the wording, but let me see if I can get it up there for you. It says, sorry once again for the light. Other rogues you control get +1/+1. I cannot get it to where it won't. It's foil. I'm terribly sorry. I will have to just lay it back down and read it. It says, other rogues you control get +1/+1. Whenever one or more rogues you control deal combat damage to a player, that player mills a card for each 1 damage dealt to them. If that player mills at least 1 creature card, that way you draw a card. If you followed my videos on Magic Arena, I go over the mill deck and how it works. The win con is to mill your opponents to no cards. And this is what this deck is going to be designed to do. And I'm going to show you some upgrades like I just showed with Sphinx's Tutelage. I'm going to show you the cards that Triple Mango had recommend that you take out. Another one that he recommends that you add in there are some lands. He recommends that you add Darkwater Catacombs. What this land does is it will add 2 mana instead of 1. So it's like having more mana in your card than having just 1 single land. More mana means more stuff we can play, so that's a good upgrade. The other land he recommends you do is you take out a basic land out of the deck and replace it with Temple of Deceit. Temple of Deceit enters the battlefield tapped. However, when it does enter the battlefield, you can scry 1 card, which means look at the top of your deck, see what it is. If you want to keep it on the top, you can, or you can put it on bottom. Some of the other things is this guy. Yes, this is a blue-black deck, a Dimir deck. You can go with Geth, the Lord of Vault. He has Intimidate, which means the creatures cannot block except by artifact creatures and or creatures that share a color with it. And it has a pay ability. It says put artifact or creature card with converted mana cost of X from opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Then that player mills X cards. So what that means is that X means you can pay as much mana as you want plus 1 black. And then you can take the converted mana cost of that. So say you give 6 mana and 1 black. That converted mana cost is 7. So you can pull one of their creatures out and use it as your own. Very powerful card to add on. Another one is Reconnaissance Mission. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. Cycling. Pay 2 mana, discard, and then draw a card. The more times we can draw a card, the better chances we can get at finding the cards we need to mill our opponents. Like I've said before, mill to me is the way I like to play because it's just vicious, and if you can get your opponent's cards in the graveyard, they can't play it. Since this is a rogue tribal deck, my next recommendation, along with, well, I should say Triple Mango's recommendation, is Thieves Guild Enforcer. It's got flash, and it says whenever Thieves Guild Enforcer or another rogue enters the battlefield under your control, your opponent mills 2 cards. As long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, Thieves Guild Enforcer has +2/+1 and has Death Touch. That's pretty amazing because Death Touch doesn't matter how strong the opponent is. It's going to pretty much kill that opponent no matter if they have 20 toughness. And what it does is when a rogue enters the battlefield, it mills your opponent. Well, this is a rogue deck, so we are going to have a lot of rogues come out. The next one that Triple Mango recommends is each opponent, well, it's called Mind Grind. Each opponent reveals cards from the top of their or his library until he or she reveals X land card. Then puts all cards revealed this way into his or her graveyard. X can't be 0. So as you can see, the converted mana cost is 1X blue and a black. So we know we have to pay a blue and a black, but we can play 10 mana. And then what that means is he has to reveal cards from the top of his library until he reveals 10 land cards. Then puts all those cards revealed this way into his or her graveyard. So that's a strong way to get a good mill going on into just one little card drop there. The next one it recommends is Dustmantle Guildmage. Whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere this turn, that player loses 1 life. Pay 2, 1 blue, 1 black. Player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library into his graveyard. The way this card works is in a combo. I don't have that other card yet. It's being shipped in the mail from TCG Player. The other one, I believe, is called Mindcrank, if I'm not mistaken. Mindcrank will work with this card and give you an infinite combo. Because as we read, when a card is put into an opponent's graveyard, that player loses a life. And then Mindcrank tells you that when a player loses a life, he has to put the card in the graveyard. Which there goes, it puts an infinite cycle until that player loses. It's an instant win for one. It's an instant defeat of 1 player. So if you're playing multiple players, you'll have 1 or 2 other players you're having to deal with. Slitherwisp, is another card that Triple Mango recommended. Was a flash. Whenever you cast another spell that has flash, you draw a card, and each opponent loses 1 life. It's a decent way for you to ping damage to your opponent, so that their life total goes down a lot faster. Now, 2 other cards I'm looking at possibly adding in that is of my own is Mesmeric, if I can hold on to it, Mesmeric Orb. Whenever a permanent becomes untapped, that permanent's controller mills a card. Put the top card of their library into their graveyard. Alright, so Mesmeric Orb is from Double Masters, and it only has a 2 converted mana cost. When we think of permanents in Magic, it can be a land. So if they have to tap mana each turn, and then untaps, each time they do that for each one, they have to mill a card. So what we're doing is putting a tax onto their hand. And the last card I'm looking at upgrading into my deck from my own perspective, not Triple Mango, once again, these holographic cards don't do well, but it's a Reliquary Tower, and it says you have no maximum hand size. I can turn it to add a mana. Now, I'm going to replace one of my lands with it because it's going to add a colorless mana anyways. The cards that we really need to take out is I'm going to have to find them, but I want to talk to you while I'm doing it. Some of these cards are a little nuts. Some of these cards are really nuts. Let's see. Now there was another set that came out with this that was called Landfall. I have it. I have it put aside, but it is for a special project I'm doing. I'm working on a Omnath deck for a competitive deck. Alright, this is one of the cards they say to remove. As we can see, it is a Black Blade Reforged, and it says equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. Why do we need that in a mill deck? I don't know. So that one's gone, and it's going to be replaced. We're going to replace that with one of the ones I have over there. Some of the lands that we're going to replace, if I can find it here, it should be pretty close, is Dimir Guildgate. That one's out. It comes into the battlefield tapped, and it only adds one or the other mana. So that one's gone. Another one is going to be a basic island. Everybody gets these, and these aren't very pretty. I'm going to change these for prettier ones. I have full art ones. But we're going to replace that. So we know these two lands. Let me get over here to my upgrade stack. We're going to replace that one. So we got these two here. Then this one's going to replace this one. So that's the upgrade. Let me get the commander out of here because we're not going to change him out just quite yet. Sphinx's Tutelage. Will replace the Black Blade. And let's see. This is a freshly opened pack, so it's taken me a while to find the cards that I need to replace. So sorry if it takes a while. All right, those are all lands and tokens, so I don't need to go back that far. The next card I'm looking to replace is Endless Obedience. If I can find Endless Obedience, that would be great. It takes a second for a 100 card deck to go through. Endless Obedience. A lot of cards. There it is. We're going to replace Endless Obedience, which again it says Convoke. Creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting a spell pays one colorless for each or one mana of that creature's color. Put target creature card from the graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. We're going for mill. We're not going for much of a reanimated graveyard deck. So we really don't need Convoke because I think our mana curve is going to be okay with this deck. And it's getting replaced. And the one that's going to replace that is Geth, because he's just... We're going to be able to pull creatures out from the graveyard anyways under our control, right? It's the same effect as that card, but they have to mill. So we're going to get a better effect without having to waste that card. So there's the first 4 upgrades to this deck that Triple Mango recommends. The next few that he recommends, of course, was, you remember, our Thieves Guild Enforcer. This card is a rare. It's not expensive, and it comes from the Core 2021 set. The Thieves Guild Enforcer is going to probably replace the Spinal Embrace within this deck. As I search for Spinal Embrace, it's probably going to be a black card, as Spinal Embrace does not seem like it would be a blue card. I'm still looking for it. I'm terribly sorry, guys. Like I said, new pack opened up. These are fresh cards. They haven't even been shuffled yet, so... Spinal Embrace. It's actually a Dimir card. It's got both colors. Alright, Spinal Embrace. It says, cast this spell only during combat. Untap target creature you don't control and gain control of it. It gains haste until the end of turn, and at the beginning of the next turn of instep. Sacrifice it if you do gain life equal to its toughness. We don't really need that, so it's going to be to the Guild Steve Enforcer, which says, if I can grab it here. It says Flash, if we remember from earlier, when it enters the battlefield, or any other rogue enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 2 cards. As long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, Guild Steve Enforcer gets +2/+1 and has Death Touch. We're going to be playing a lot of rogues in this deck, so to me that sounds like a better deal than Spinal Embrace. Now the other cards that I have to upgrade is Mind Grind. We went through that where each opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until he or she reveals X land. So if we pay 10 mana, they have to reveal 10 land cards. It's an evil way for them to mill out a bunch of cards. Mind Grind will take away Scourge of Fleets. And as I find Scourge of Fleets, we'll be able to figure out what it does, because like I said, this is a new deck. I haven't really played with it, but I do know the upgrades we need to make this a strong deck, because I have went to Triple Mango and he has very good recommendations. If you need to know how to upgrade a deck, check out Triple Mango. He needs all the followers he can get. He only has 200 or 300 followers on Facebook, but the dude has better advice than most of the bigger YouTubers out there, who really I would not trust at all. This Scourge of Fleets is like hiding on me. I know it's in this deck somewhere. I will find you and I will replace you. Scourge of Defeat. Come on, come on. Ah, it was a blue card. I was looking for a black one the whole time. My bad. Of course it's my bad. This card is pretty pointless. It might be good in a mono blue deck. And it says when Scourge of the Fleet enters the battlefield, return each creature of your opponent's control with toughness X or less to its owner's hand, where X is the number of islands you control. Well, why do we want to return a creature with blue? That's crazy. So we're going to change that with Mind Grind. The next card is part of our combo. And like I said, I don't have the other combo card here, but I'll go over which one we need to replace that one with to make this a stronger deck. Triple Mango says that the Dust Mantle, I'm trying to read this right, needs to replace Open into the Waters. So as we go back, I'm pretty sure anything that's water is a blue color. Most of these pre-con decks have a ton of value. You know, as you can get this deck for $25-ish plus tax at most local game stores, you get a lot of rares that are probably worth 75 to 20 cents a piece, or 75 to $1.25 a piece. And having 100 cards in a deck, you can easily say that these cards probably have this deck probably has a value right out of the box at somewhere around 80 to 90 something dollars, which is good value seeing as how you only have to pay 25 for it. And some of these cards may go up in value. This deck does differ from older commander decks, as because other commander decks usually had 3 commanders in it that you could switch from. However, the deck only worked about 33% for each commander. So you're playing with a deck that was only good for that one commander 33% of it. We're going to look at Open Into the Waters. It says X target creature can't be blocked this turn until the end of turn. Those creatures gain whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. I still think Dustmantle Guildmage is better because our infinite combo that it's going to perform. So we're going to change that one out. The other one he recommends, now I'm only down to, I'm missing 2 cards. I'm missing Mindcrank, and I believe Psychic Corrosion. I will get into that in a minute. Did I pull Rise from the Grave? No, I did not, because Rise from the Grave is going to be our next card that's going to come out. I believe Rise from the Grave may be a black card. Yeah, here it is. It says Rise from the Grave. Put target creature card from your graveyard, or from a graveyard, onto the battlefield under your control. That creature is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. And it has a mana cost of 5. Well, I think card draw over reconnaissance mission's a little better for a 4 mana cost. So these are the 8 out of 10 recommended changes that Triple Mango recommends for this deck to make it a little stronger. The other 2 cards, like I said, that isn't in here is Mindcrank, which would work with that Dustmantle Guildmage. And the other one is Psychic Corrosion. Both of those cards would replace Endless Obedience. Oh, I already have Endless Obedience, I'm sorry. Fated Return. Yes, it would. Psychic Corrosion would have been Fated Return. And I'm trying to think here, which one was it? Fated Return. And I'm going to have to look back onto that one because it doesn't come to my mind on which one it was, but I know there was 2 more cards. But I want to get into my recommendations into this deck because I don't have the other 2 cards with me. But I said Reclairy Tower for no maximum hand size. So that means we can get past the 7 cards that we're only allowed to keep in our hands so we can have as many as we need. As many, more rogues the better. As we can play them, we can mill them out faster. And I would recommend changing Reclairy Tower with another island. because islands are just basic. You can still get the mana off of it. And the bonus is you have no maximum hand size. Some more cards I would recommend is Mesmeric Orb, which is an amazing card because it will keep your opponents from being able to tap their lands unless they want to mill that many cards. And I would recommend let me see if I can find it. It's not in that half of the deck. It must be in the first half that I haven't gone through here. Sorry if I'm terrible at this. I don't do many live videos. There it is. This is the one I would replace it with. Obelisk of the Erd. I might be saying it wrong. Once again, it's another Convoke. Your creatures can help cast each spell. It says it as it enters the battlefield, choose a character type. Characters you choose from that type get a +2/+2. I rather mill my opponents and getting a cheap buff, so I would change that card out with that one. Now, some favorable mentions. You don't have to do this, but if you want to be evil, I'm going to pull these two cards out. Now, this is a way to go full-on heavy metal with this deck. It says Traumatize for 5 mana, converted cost anyways, 3 colorless and 2 blue. Target player puts the top half of his or her library rounded down into his graveyard. So if your opponent has a 99 card deck and this pops off around turn 5, turn 6, he should still have a good 80 cards in his library. This one card will make him mill 40. If you wanted to be super evil, you could put that card in there, matched along with this one. Peer into the Abyss. It has a higher mana cost of 7, but it also says target player draws card equal to half the number of the cards in their library and loses half their life, rounded up each time. So if you was to play this card and then play this card on your turn, as they're both sorceries and you have the mana for it, you just milled their whole deck because 2 halves make a whole. That one player just lost the game. That is a second win con combo that I'm going to put in this deck, along with, like I said, the Guild Mage, the Dust, what was his name again? He's right here. The Dust Mantle Guild Mage with Mind Crank will be another second win con. The more win cons you can put in your deck and synergize, the better these decks are going to work out. However, I haven't found a place for these two yet, as I'm going to test my deck out this week and see how it does with what I have from Triple Mango. If I think it needs a little bit more, Peer into the Abyss and Traumatize will definitely go into it. The other card I have was a Slitherwisp. It says whenever you cast another spell that has flash, you draw a card. Each opponent loses 1 life. The one thing about rogues and cards like rogues, it doesn't matter. If you notice, all rogues have flash in it. So I can add this card, this Slitherwisp, to ping my opponents for extra damage. And that might help control the damage. We're going to look and see. But for right now, I recommend that you use Sphinx's Tutelage, Dark Water Catacombs, Temple of Deceit, Geth, Mind Crank, Psychic Corrosion, Reconnaissance Mission, Mind Grind, Thieves Guild Enforcer, and a Slitherwisp to start out. The ones I recommend you take out are Black Blade Reforged, a Dimir Guildgate, One Island, Endless Obedience, Rise from the Grave, Fated Return, Open into Waters, Scourge of the Fleets, and Spinal Embrace. I would replace those cards and take them out. That would make this deck better. I'm not saying that this product is bad. This is a good commander, and in my opinion, this deck is better than the Landfall deck. But they're always going to be targeted towards new players. So this deck right here will not win against a CEDH deck, which is competitive. Most of those decks cost a lot more than these, and these decks are designed to have fun. So have fun with it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Follow CSI Gaming on YouTube. You can look them up. Searching is the easiest way. I know a lot of people have the little logos down here so you can follow them, but I'm just going to tell you, if you go search for CSI Gaming, you'll find a lot of our videos there that pertain to Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, and other cards that they open up, and other games. I mainly stick to Magic. Also, check out CSI Gaming if you're ever around Illinois, as they will be probably opening up once this whole stupid pandemic passes by. You could probably order online, maybe pick up something, ask them to leave it at the door. I don't know. Talk to them, see what they can do for you. I'm pretty sure that they can do something. Ship it to your house. They do accept the Cash App and PayPal. Protect your decks with the Dragon Shield. Protect your cards. With a good card box. Get you a good play mat. All these things you can be found at your local gaming stores. They need all the support we can get right now because this whole pandemic's got them down. So anything you can do to help your local gaming stores out, definitely do it. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. I mean, it probably wasn't much. I was hoping that it would be more educational. If you want more insight, you can rewatch this video, or you can watch the original guy that I recommended, was Triple Threat Mango on Facebook. He has this deck. It is called Sneak Attack. His guide is great. I recommend it, and I will see you guys in future videos. I'm planning on doing some more Arena. And then I will probably get back into November doing some Commander Legends. See you then. Mike with CSI Gaming. Have a nice day.